Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone going?
What's up? We up? We up?
I think so. We should
We're
be.
coming online. We're coming online. There we go. There we are. Episode 53, man.
It is episode 53. Where actually I guess yeah, episode 52 marks a whole year worth of kick talks. We're now into our second year worth of kick talks. It's beautiful. Big, big,
Huge,
big.
man. Yeah, and what a way to celebrate year two, right? With that conversation with Devin Nash, huh?
Oh, true. Yeah, that's actually great. That was basically the 52nd, the 1 year worth of Kick Talk episode there with Devin Nash last week, which was awesome. Really incredible episode. But I tell you, I'll be honest, every episode's fucking awesome. There's just different degrees of intensity. Maybe is how I'd put it. Can we do a roll call here in the chat though? We got Summer 23, Pink Blitz, Mac OFRI. We got Zoomies. We got F12 here. We got Sleepy here. We got Faroto here. We got Novik. We have got Dark Wizard Win. We've got Diego. We got Arik. We got Darla. We got Carrot. We got Match. We got Turtle. We got Kale, Trader, Sayam, Sway, Texie, Josh Funny, HDR, we got Cool, we got Jake Pender, we got Barheap, we got Skittle Live, we got Gut2, Unique Bot, Albash, we got D-Tech, we got Darlas, we got Little Keys, Corneck, we got Call Me You Know, we got Seeker Player, Marco's here, we got One Love XX here, we got a Moat Party here, we got a lot of people here, guys. Dommy X Mummy's here, everybody's here, we got a lot of people here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Andrew, amazing episode as always. Amazing episode last week, but this week we got Optic coming on. Optic Hitch.
Yeah, man. Optic Hitch. Look, I think it's no secret that Kick continues to grow the esports space, right? So that's why this conversation is very important. I mean, we've had people on like I guess like Jason Lake, we had Moreau on with M80. We even had, Larry Sedembrenny, who's on the ESL side, EFG side. They do every tournament under the sun. But listen, Optic Hitch is different. Optic Hitch is a creative director for Optic Gaming, right? And Optic is I would argue, man, and I don't know, there's probably gonna be some people in chat who are just gonna be like, "You're crazy," but Optic Gaming was like Optic was phased before there was a phase, before there was 100 Thieves. Like these guys, these guys started the content house, right? Like I think it was like back in 2013, 2012. Nate Shot, Mercs, Seth, Hex. These guys got together and came into got into a house with the purpose of creating content around esports. Not so much like doing like esports tournaments, but like creating like back in the day, trick shots was a big thing. Clips, like what we know as clipping now, like the big thing back then in 2013, 2012 was like trick shot clipping, right? And Optic like caught on to that. Hitch caught on to that real fast. And what Hitch ended up doing was like taking like clips and like turning them into like entire documentaries, right? So Hitch has been around since like 2012. His current channel, Team Summertime, is a collaborative with other esports personalities that just get together and game. They have a channel up here on Kick. Um, Obviously, the entire Optic clan has not moved over yet. So that's something that I would really love to discuss. Like, hey, how do we get more folks like Optic, more folks like FaZe, more folks like 100 Thieves to look in our direction? Um, but this guy, as far as a documentarian goes, really put esports on the map as far as like humanizing it, giving it a personality, giving Optic a personality. Optic keeps a lot of their content on their own website behind a paywall. And I think that they're one of the few organizations that can do this. Not everyone can do that. Everyone's got to stream on other platforms like Twitch or YouTube or whatnot. Optic does a pretty good job of keeping a real tight circle. Another thing that Optic Hitch does a lot is he's always around like men's health, mental health. He's organizing tournaments around that, around Call of Duty. Like that's his like main go-to game. I'd like to get his thoughts on Battlefield 6 to see what he thinks about all that. Um, this guy put folks like Scump on the map, Nade Shot on the map. You know, um, Now their gameplay elevated themselves, right? But a guy like Optic Hitch really put a spotlight on them. So I just want to drive home the importance of Optic Hitch and how much he shaped the esports landscape and why it's such a big deal that he's here talking with us, or why he's even streaming on Kick. I'd be interested in get his 2 cents on like the current clipping culture. That Kick undoubtedly like exploded. And then if there's any parallels to what he saw when he was noticing clips and how they took off. But Optic Gaming guys, these guys started a lot of it back in 2013, 2016 with their Scuff House. So I want to give props where props are due. Yes, FaZe are doing an amazing job. 100 Thieves, they do an amazing job with their houses, but they didn't do it like Optic did. In fact, Optic, I would say, kind of laid down the roadmap for these guys. And
Huge. I was listening just
that's
I
my
had to jump on
overview
my
for
other
chat.
computer whilst you were giving the intro there. It's awesome. Big. That's a hell of an intro, Andrew.
Yeah, good guy to have on, man. I'll drag him in here. Hitch.
Hello.
What's up, man? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Let me pop my camera on.
Hey, Hitch,
good morning,
how you doing?
guys. How are y'all doing? I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. It's bright and early here. Usually I'm sleeping for the next 4 more hours, but waking up early for Kick Talk.
Are you on the West Coast?
Hey, did you? Yeah.
What'd you say?
You're on the West Coast, are you?
No, Central, Texas.
Okay. Well, what time for you right now? It would be
9. It was 9:30.
It's still an early start. It's still an early start.
Well,
4 hours. Okay,
ridiculous,
1:30.
but...
Yeah, that's decent. That's decent. Yeah.
A little ridiculous that this is bright and early for me because all my peers are up and early and drinking their coffees and going to work and stuff. But we usually have the crazy schedule over here, like 8 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. is usually when I'm working, and then I sleep till late in the afternoon. But
hey, Eddie, he's got a podcast called Around the Bar.
Yeah.
Did you film that? And it does very, very well. So beautiful setup, great guests. They just drink and have a good time.
Yeah.
Did you record that last night?
No, not last night. I wouldn't have been able to get up this early if it was last night. But I did one a couple days ago, trying to get one out once a week. I did one with one of our Call of Duty pros, and they're in the off season right now. Because usually when the COD pros are on season, they don't want to, if they're scrimming, they're practicing, they're getting ready for games, they don't want to drink. But now they get to relax a little bit, and so I get to pick their brains while we have a few cocktails. It's a lot of fun.
Well, that's a podcast you host in person.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I record it and put it up on YouTube, and try to fly people down to Texas and have some drinks. And yeah, it's been like a passion project of mine over the past like couple years. So I'm really excited to keep it going.
Well, that's fairly new, is it though? It's 2 years, you said.
Yeah, like within 2 years, like a year and a half, I believe, something like that. Yeah, man. So if you're ever in Dallas, let me know.
Yeah. That sounds like a good evening. Yeah, nice.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Hey Hitch, I've got a few questions for you real quick, and then what we typically do is kind of hand it over to you, just kind of about anything you may want to ask us or talk about in relation to streaming or Kick or anything really, to be honest. But from my side, my first question, Andrew kind of alluded to this as he was kind of introing a little bit about yourself, but you've obviously been around the industry and live streaming for a long time now. You've seen it all, and you've just recently made the switch now over to Kick and started multi-streaming. This is a huge initiative for us right now, is to really just try to get people warmed up to the idea of like, hey, look, you can stream on Twitch, YouTube, Kick, everywhere at the same time, and trying to like make that as natural as possible. What was it that got you to actually make that switch over and bring everyone over? We're obviously trying our best to grow the esports side of things, and what was it that kind of clicked for you to go, hey, look, I'm going to give this a red hot crack?
Yeah, I think I have a little bit of a different type of stream. Whereas me and my two buddies, literally my high school friends, we started streaming, or I started doing stuff with Optic, and then I brought them in, and we started like streaming together. So all three of us stream at the same time every day, and then we kind of run the whole business around the three of us. So we've always been looking for um, that third place to put one of us, because my side's on Twitch, and then Blake's side, their names are Blake and George. Blake's side's on YouTube, and then we wanted that third spot, but nothing really ever made sense. And then a bunch of my friends actually, one of our Call of Duty or our Warzone pros, Oakley boy, he streams full
Oh,
time
Oakley.
on Kick. Yeah, he streams full time on Kick. Bobby Poff streams a lot on Kick, and um, uh, another streamer here locally in Dallas. Her name is Shorty Pie.
Shorty, of
She streams
course.
on Kick as well, and they all have nothing but great things to say about it. So we decided to it's a little daunting trying to grow it all over again, so we were like, you know what, let's do it. And I think we're a month in, and it's already, I mean, it's already been great. We're just trying to pump the Kick side of things up, and try to get as much promotion as we can over there. But from the little things we've seen, I mean, it's been great. It really has been.
And that's awesome to hear. Yeah, I think when you got people like Oakley and Shorty Pie kind of putting in good words for us, I'm sure that definitely must help a bit too, which is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
But just to clarify that, so you obviously got what, the three of you guys streaming together. So you've got three different perspectives, or you're just running three
Right.
multi streams?
No. It's three different perspectives.
So awesome. That's pretty smart, actually.
Yeah, it's kind of like one. We try to see it as a show. So whoever's hot at whatever moment, like you can go over to their POV, and so people come into the YouTube chats and the Twitch chats, and they say, how do I watch blank? Like, how do I watch Blake, or how do I watch George? And it's real easy just to say, oh well, George's over on Kick, Blake's over on YouTube, and so it's not. I mean, it's not multi-streaming. It's just more of like three different perspectives. It's been a weird one to try to explain to people, but it's still a lot of fun.
That's a super awesome idea, honestly, because that way you give people a really solid reason to not just tune into one live stream, but potentially two or three, and suddenly you're truly building an audience on all of them without having to kind of like move people specifically over. So that's a super cool idea. I'm surprised, to be honest. Haven't heard of anyone else doing that before. It just makes a ton of sense.
It's a tough thing to do. Blake, George, and I talk about it all the time. Like, not a lot of people could build a business in a group setting when it comes to streaming. There's basically you got to work through a lot of shit.
All your streams, of course, are always together, right? So that means you kind of like gotcha.
So
gotcha. Yeah.
So all of our YouTube video revenue, all of our streaming revenue, all of our merchandise, all of our our brand deals and everything, like it all goes into the business and all gets distributed out. So it's and it sounds great on paper, but I promise you, don't grab two random people and be like, yo, we should do this, or three random people, because it will end in bloodshed.
That's why it's why you're a creative director, man. You're making it work. You're not no one thinks to do that, right? No one in their right mind would be like, nah, man, let's all feed into the same camera. Let's all do the same thing, blah, blah, blah. But that's why you are where you are, man.
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate it. I'm trying my best, at least. I'm trying my best.
But as Andrew said, because you're the creative director for Optic right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so what when you think of Optic and sort of the Optic sort of content, how does it kind of defer to other esports organizations? I think Andrew
Yeah.
mentioned before that you guys were like the inventors of of content houses, more or less, which are like one of the biggest
Yeah.
hits in sort of straight, well, YouTube and all kind of content creation for that matter. TikTok a whole lot. You guys kind of
Yeah.
started that. I'm assuming that's kind of somewhat on a direction of yours. But how are you guys standing out nowadays?
I mean, it's the thing with us, we still have the same people. So I came in like the second wave of Optic. So when I was just watching, I was just a fan. It was like Hex and Nade Shot and Scump, and there was like a huge built out sniper team and all this, and I was a big fan of it. And then I think Hector kind of had the foresight to realize that like the online like having Optic in your name and then just making videos and stuff like wasn't really there wasn't like enough soul behind it, I guess. And so he just completely dropped everyone that wasn't like doing in real life content and moved them all into a house and had them compete. And so then you get that first like team house, which I believe started it all. I mean, there were already esports houses, but those are like sit down and like scrimmage every day, and there's not like content coming out of it. Whereas like that first COD house was Scump, Nade Shot, Big Timer, Merc, and then Hector or Hex would come in and out, and obviously he had a family and stuff. So we're still on that wave. Like we've gone through a bunch of different iterations of it, and we moved into a really big house, and then we all moved to Dallas, and then now we're kind of doing like the headquarters kind of thing. So because we're all married or engaged, and we all have kids now, we can't live in a house like we once could.
Yeah.
But we all meet 2-3 times a week at a headquarters, and it's still the same guys. It's still the same guys that I kind of been growing up with in this industry. So yeah, but we love content. Like content is king over here. I think we're a good like happy medium. Like esports orgs can understand us, like the hardcore like TSMs and C9s, like they can understand us because we're really big into esports, but also like the phase boys can understand us too because we work really hard when it comes to content, making YouTube videos, streaming and stuff like that. So yeah, I think Optic before I joined, like they really paved the way for a lot of what was to come, but then also, we found a happy medium with it too in our old age, in our unk status age, I guess you would say.
Angst his age, yeah, love it. No, I guess yeah, you got to adapt, right? Yeah, I guess it's
Yeah.
especially what the simple fact that I guess what the whole team's now been together going on sort of over 10 years, right? Well over.
Yeah, well over. I mean, I joined. I started working with Optic for at the very end of 2014, and I was like second wave in. So there have been people. I mean, Hector started in 2006, I believe, or Optic started in 2006. So
That's
yeah,
super
it's
cool.
been
I think
going
what
on
you
a
said
long,
before,
long
right? It's
time.
the simple fact that you kind of almost you spend your life kind of growing up with that group of people, and the fact you still can
Yeah,
share these moments and those opportunities to hang out and do what you love. I guess in a slightly more formal manner at a headquarters instead of a content house nowadays is
yeah,
pretty
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
cool.
But what I love about FaZe is they were the same way. Like the FaZe boys, they all grew up. They all are married and they all got kids in the way, except for my man Adapt. Adapt is still he's still doing his damn thing. But what Banks was able to do with FaZe is like take what kind of like where we're at, and then he brought in like brought in the youngins, and now they're doing their thing, and so I think I'd be interested in trying that out, but it's a risk, man. Not everybody can crush it like they did.
That's kind of cool way to put it, right? So you kind of pass the baton, but you hold the culture from the top down, kind of thing. And but
Yeah,
what? So
exactly.
you don't have too many new people coming through, or
No, not really. Hector team tends to run a tight ship because we like to have everybody local and
yeah.
and we like to have we like to have it more of like a family vibe rather than like a, come in and get a paycheck or come in and any sort of corporate feel to working. So
Mm.
he's been pretty picky with who's come and gone, but it's worked out. It's worked out. He likes to say Optic. He likes to view Optic content as like a sitcom. So you're always familiar with the characters no matter what, and it's not a constant rotation of of different actors, I
And
guess.
Eddie, their content is tight. Like it's well produced, it's well thought out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hitch, but it's behind a paywall. Like you
It was
know,
at one point. It
yeah.
was at one point, and we're trying to get back to that. It was it, it I'm trying to figure out how to say it. There was a service where there was like a paywalled edition and stuff like that, and then the old management, there was like some corporate stuff that went down, and so that we decided to put everything on YouTube for now, and then eventually, I mean, it's probably uh, down the line somewhere that will go to like YouTube memberships or maybe a Patreon or something like that, or maybe our own Patreon. Like, because what the Sidemen, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Sidemen, but what they've been able to do with their system is genius, and they're
What have they done
so good
exactly?
at it.
Sidemen?
So yeah, the Sidemen have their own basically their own channel behind it's a paywalled channel. What is it called? Sidemen Entertainment. But basically they have like weekly, like extremely produced videos that go up on those, and they just have like an incredible community behind it. And so that was like a big that's a big point for a lot of people in in gaming entertainment, is like how the Sidemen were able to do that. I'm looking for it right now. I can't find it, but
Yeah, we had a good
um
run with the Sidemen.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We put together that was it a YouTube All Stars soccer game that
Oh,
was over in
yeah.
England? It was the kick team. If you remember,
Yeah.
XQC was in goal.
Oh,
Eddie,
yes. Yeah, yeah, yes, yes,
XQC
yes.
was in goal. So yeah, all our kick boys were out there. We had the kick team versus the YouTube All Stars. And you're right, they run an incredibly tight ship, man. They're constantly morphing their stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're the when I think of content teams, like, they're the standard, really. I mean, they're the best, and they're 7 guys. There's never gonna be 8, there's never gonna be well, there's never gonna be 6. It's 7 guys, and they make their content, and also individually, they're all crushing it. Vicstar's doing this, and KSI obviously is doing all this, and everybody's doing their thing. So yeah, they're a big inspiration for me, and I know a lot of people over here as well, like in the states, trying to replicate what they've got.
On the topic of content and capturing a lot of great moments and stuff, for you at least, yeah, maybe more so in the esports side of things, but what's one moment you wish you had the camera rolling but you didn't, and you kind of missed out on? Is there anything that comes to mind?
One moment. Oh wow, that's a really good question. One moment that wish I had the camera rolling,
Yeah,
but
like
I missed
I guess
it.
there must be so many times you're like, fuck, if only we were
Yeah, yeah.
actually capturing this.
Um, I, um, damn, I don't know. I mean, I think there was one time in the Scuff House where there was like a an issue going on between a couple people in the house, and then Hector came in, and basically he resolved it, sat us all down. It was literally him in front of the living room, and we were all on the couch, I mean, this was 10 years ago, but or whatever. Um, but like, it was very, very tense. And from the outside looking in, you would think that we're like, we're just 6 guys living in a house. Everything's hunky dory. We're all playing video games, and people are making money. People are competing. Everything's great. But it was not like that behind closed doors. And Hector does a really good job of coming in and diffusing the situation, and explaining exactly what's going on. And we didn't understand business, and a lot of people were, we're thinking that business was going a little different than it was, and Hector came in and just open book about what Optic business was, and how we shouldn't be worried, and all this stuff. And I think that was like there's a lot of times where I think uh Hector has a lot against him. If people could see him in that setting, then people will understand why he's so respected. So there's situations like that. Because I think when it comes to esports, I did a pretty good job of capturing everything. Like I was always with the team, and I always had my camera on me, so I didn't miss much. But yeah, like situations like that were always like the cool moments for me.
I guess what ultimately keeping everyone together now for what almost Hector's been there since the very beginning, right?
Yeah, yeah, since
So almost
2006.
20 years keeping kind of the ship
Yeah.
running.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
guess when you got everyone living like in close quarters, working day in, day out, and trying to keep, like you said, you don't want that kind of revolving door. So, I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's, yeah, it's a testament to an incredible job of being I guess what an amazing leader in that situation you explained, where I guess
Yeah.
whatever the situation got a little bit tense and whatnot, being able to diffuse that and get everyone back on board and back,
Yeah.
in an enjoyable state of mind is, I guess for you
Especially
guys
dealing
probably really important.
Yeah, I'm especially dealing with kids. Like we're I mean, I'm 24, the youngest guy in the house is 19, the oldest guy in the house is 28. So, like, we're all kids. We're living in a house rent free. A lot of us still on our mom and dad's like health insurance, and we don't understand, the whole side of it. We definitely took a lot of shit for granted. We're making money for the first time, so it's all getting to our heads. I'm sure you guys can understand that. There's a lot of a lot of people that you guys are with there. You're like, all right, calm down. I know you guys are making money now, but let's get it together. And that's kind of what it was like. It's like a lot of people wouldn't have the patience to deal with something like that, especially when you got so much other stuff going on. But yeah, I mean that's just why we don't let a lot of people come in and out, because there was we were doing this 10 years ago, same group of people, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, no,
yeah, that's kind of
it's obviously working, right? I think it's yeah, before you know it, if you kind of give up and just kind of let that revolving door begin, because I'm sure, yeah, you can probably find someone to replace whatever, right? Like you can look at everything as like a commodity of sorts and replaceable, but yeah,
yeah.
quickly, it's yeah, it can go downhill pretty fast. So I guess yeah, those moments of patience and dealing through those, I guess it's
Yeah.
almost like you said, everyone's growing up together, right? It's everyone's kind of going
Yes,
through
yeah, yeah.
the same life lessons. It ends up making for it's certainly worth the patience, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sure you
Yeah.
learned to say I'm sorry really fast. To
Yeah.
hold it together that tight, man. Like you. So, do you mind sharing what the incident was that way
Yeah,
back when
sure.
that moment? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't mind talking about it. I think one of so the guys in the house, I think this has been talked about, so this is fine. The guys in the house that were living there, we weren't on salary. Our salary was free rent, free internet, free utilities. That I mean, it was a long time ago. And then one of the guys in the house found a sheet that was lying around, and it was a contract from one of our sponsors, and it was for a lump sum of money that a lot of guys in the house were unaware that that's what the org was getting paid. And so the scary part in the guy who found it, and the scary part in his mind was, oh, we're getting nothing, besides free rent and all this stuff. We're getting nothing, and then it's all being pocketed elsewhere. But what happened? What Hector did is he sat down and said, I'm not. Optic hasn't been. I haven't taken any investment in Optic. That this is all money coming in, and then here is the expenses of where the money goes, and this is how we're able to afford a Call of Duty team. This is how we're able to afford a Counter Strike team. This is how we're able to afford a Gears of War team. He basically did what I don't think any other CEO would do, and like open. I don't know. He did. I didn't see him, but apparently he opened the books to some of the guys in the house, and so it helped the guys that like were really just kind of uh just being content creators and stuff, like understand exactly how the business works. So that was basically it. 10 years ago, 10 years
You
ago-
said Gears of War, man. That's all I needed to hear.
yeah.
Yeah.
I went to many Gears of War tournaments, man. Many Gears of War tournaments. It was a fun time.
Well, I
You
guess
go to
what
a
those-
you go to a yeah, you go to a fight and a Gears of War tournament breaks out. I mean, that's basically how those are.
Nah,
I don't know if
it's a
there's Gears
tricky one to
tournaments elsewhere.
navigate through, right? I guess when you're yeah, I think what people probably look at esport team and forget that there's a lot of expenses, the travel, everything,
Yeah.
right? It just adds up so quickly. And yeah, I guess if you haven't got that kind of understanding of all that side of things, it's probably a pretty.
Yeah.
I'm sure it would have been a pretty tense moment there for a moment, but it sounds like Hector's a fucking awesome guy.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, don't want to blow smoke too much up his ass because he's got an ego the size of the world, but he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Just switching gears a little bit to a topic that we've been discussing quite a lot, sort of internally on the back of the streaming side of things, but it's co-streaming because co-streaming is really dominating CDL numbers recently. What sort of impact does this have on the sort of creative process for you at least, and what's your thoughts on it all?
You said it's dominating on what? On
On COD?
on the CDL. Oh, okay. I was making sure that's right. Yeah, I mean, well, for Call of Duty, the our professional side, they're signed to YouTube, so like we can't multi-stream on it at all. But
How's that? Explain that. They're
So-
signed to YouTube.
yeah, so YouTube bought the rights to the Call of Duty League. So all Call of Duty matches are broadcasted onto YouTube, and they cannot be rebroadcasted in real time, but they can be rebroadcasted after the event goes up. So you can do VOD review on Twitch. You can rewatch on Twitch. But as far as the main stream, the only streams that you can see are the main broadcast and the watch parties. And the watch parties, there's two really really big ones. And honestly, we were nervous about it because a few years ago we had that, and in esports like H1Z1 and PUBG, they've signed I think H1Z1 signed a Facebook deal, a Facebook live streaming deal, and it killed the esport. Like the esport just vanished because people forgot about it. So we were scared that was what was going to happen to Call of Duty, but luckily that wasn't the case. But multi-streaming, I think multi-streaming in the last tournament, the EWC in EWC. I don't know if you guys have heard of Esports World Cup, but it's like this huge thing that happens in Saudi. That tournament wasn't exclusive to YouTube. So that was the first tournament that you could broadcast on Twitch. So people were live streaming it, and the viewership is just insane. Like the difference when you can multi-stream is really crazy. But also like broadcasting rights and stuff like that helps keep esports alive if it can be done correctly. So I see both sides of it. I just, hopefully at the end of the day, the game is good enough and the competition is good enough, and the social push behind it, like the clips and the the marketing and stuff behind it is good enough to keep it going. It's not just all on the shoulders of wherever it's being broadcasted. So I don't know if that answers your question.
When did YouTube buy the rights for Call of Duty?
It's happened twice. So it was it's been a while now. It's been like I think it's been like 6 years, but with one year break, I think.
Okay.
So I think 1 year it was on Twitch, and then every other year for every other of the 5 years it's been on YouTube. It's something like that. It's been for the most part of the CDL era.
So what I guess what you mentioned, so with the esports World Cup, that's the only time when it's like truly open and can be broadcast everywhere, right? And when that happens, I take the viewership goes insane.
Yeah, I mean the viewership, especially across all platforms, like uh just
Mm.
really skyrockets.
We
Interesting.
had a
Well,
run
wonder
in.
why they keep renewing it though. Well, I guess what was it renewed recently or?
I've heard it was I've heard it was part of a, because it's a YouTube and CDL thing. I've heard it was like a part of a Google Blizzard thing. I've heard
Oh,
it was like
gotcha.
a, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. I
yeah.
don't know though. That's
Okay.
way above. I don't own enough suits to know
Yeah.
any of that. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, but we're we were surprised that it happened again. But what?
I guess what you
You never know.
guys obviously sort of sitting there hoping that hold on, hopefully they kind of lift these restrictions and it does well for you guys.
Right.
You guys will do really well,
Oh
right?
yeah, of course. We want to be able to multi-stream it. We want to be able to open the doors and let everybody watch party it in real time. And because a lot of people that were watch partying, then it goes over to YouTube and they have some of them don't even have YouTube channels, like some of these watch
Yeah,
partiers.
yeah.
And so now it just completely kills their watch party. And so yeah, I mean, and I think what is it? Rising tides raise all ships. Like I think that's kind of how esports is. It's like the more people that are making clips and doing stuff within the game, the bigger the game's going to get. So selfishly from a content perspective, that's
We
what
had
I would
a
want.
we had an incident with a creator, really large creator out of the MENA region that was watching some EWC content.
Okay.
I won't get too into the weeds with it, but he was watching it, and we got a DMCA, we got a request for takedown from EWC. So we reached out to the creator and we had him take it down. Immediately you saw the numbers just like boom, just tank, right? And
Hmm.
then they hit us back up and they're like, "Hey, maybe we can work something out where we just let this guy roll." And then we were
Yeah.
kind of like, "Why don't you just open this up to the kick community?" And they were like, "You know what? Let's just do that." And then like literally within hours, that broadcast was opened up to the entire kick community.
Oh, that's
So
dope.
yeah, we totally saw the power of like the watch parties and the
Yeah.
eyeballs that it brings and like the intensity. So I think that there's something there that still needs to be heavily invested into and heavily explored.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys
Absolutely.
do you guys at Optic get much kind of like seat at the table when it comes to those chat? I guess what no, that's all kind of like Microsoft, Google, like you said, or
Yeah. No, there's no
oh,
like,
sorry,
there's no
Blizzard,
like,
Blizzard, and Google. I don't forgot. Yeah,
there's no like, we just kind of got to hope for the best from my understanding.
yeah.
I
Okay,
don't know.
fair
I'm not,
enough. You think with after being supporting the game for 20 years, maybe grab your opinion here and there,
right.
but
Exactly.
yeah.
Not even mine. Like the ownership groups of all the teams, like they're all in a franchise league. You would think that they would get like,
Mm,
a uh, an opinion on it, or they've got an opinion on it, but you think they get a vote. But I don't think that's how it works. But
yeah.
again, I don't know. I have no idea.
I guess, like you said before, it's I'm sure what the financial help and all that kind of stuff and the rights there. There's always a bigger picture to it all. I'm sure the
Yeah,
people at Blizzard are pretty switched on when it comes to hopefully making the, the right decisions. So yeah, hopefully they open it all up though because that'd be great. I think yeah, as Andrew said, I think
yeah,
that's I think yeah, especially content creation nowadays and just how it operates. It's it requires that kind of more open system. I think if you try and control it, it doesn't really work in the same way as it used to be. I think that kind of idea of
right.
exclusivity around certain stuff, like I think Kick when we first launched, we were like, oh, we'll ask this person to come stream on Kick, but we'll be like, you have to be exclusive and all these kind of things, and we quickly realized that
Yeah,
just like it actually was doing us a disjustice because obviously it made for more people to move over, but then unfortunately and naturally the creator or the streamers were unable to reach as much of their audience as they initially were. So we quickly realized we're kind of like by shooting ourselves in the foot, we're also shooting them in the foot. It was kind of like a lose-lose
yeah,
situation, and I don't know, we learned the
yeah,
hard way that you just don't like ever try to restrict content creation in general. You kind of let people do what they want,
yeah.
and it works out better. All these kind of preconceptions around like exclusivity and having ownership of this and that, and trying to lock things down doesn't really work, I think, nowadays. But again, we'll see. We'll see how things tend. I think that's trending in the same direction across most online content right now. But But yeah, for us at
Yeah.
least, we're definitely seeing the upside into trying to avoid those types of deals.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the thing that I've noticed that's different with Kick is when people were streaming on Mixer and when people were streaming on Facebook, when people were streaming on Instagram, like none of those streamers that were signed to do that encouraged other people to come stream there. Like they got their paycheck and that was that, and they were hoping to bring their audience there, but there was never like a peer to peer balance there of like hey, I got a deal on Mixer, you guys should come stream to Mixer. Like Mixer is a way better product. Here's what it offers. Like that was none of that. And you're actually seeing that, especially with the medium size streamer, small to medium size streamer. They're loving Kick and what Kick is able to provide. So I think that's like such a strong advantage. And then obviously on the small scale, and obviously the mega creators are also liking Kick as well. So yeah, I mean, I think that's whatever you're doing it right. Seemingly from the outside looking in, or from the
You
inside
know,
looking out, I guess now.
you know,
Now that we're
talking
on it.
about talking about those early days with Mixer and even the contracts that we were getting into early on, like in my opinion, this is just my opinion, like sometimes it's just easier. What I love about KPP is that any creator can come on if they got a community and they have control of their own domain, right? Like once you start getting agents and managers and things that this nature involved, while they are very important, don't get me wrong, very important. I think sometimes the deliverables can just deteriorate the relationship, right? Like, can you imagine the Mixer contracts where it's just like, you these links you must flip over, you must wear a
Yeah.
Mixer t-shirt every other third episode, and it
Yeah,
starts
yeah.
looking like a controlled Hollywood deal because I think that those were like the early days of us seeing those kind of contracts, but it really becomes this thing where it's like, fuck it, I don't even like this platform I'm streaming on
Right.
anymore. Why would I organically and authentically talk genuine about it, you know?
Yeah, no, of course. And I think what people are starting to learn is that the audience is smart enough to understand that if you allow their favorite streamer to do something awesome, they
Yeah.
will like you. That is the important part. If you allow if you allow them to do this crazy stuff because of this contract or because of whatever is going on behind the scenes that they don't care about, as long as they're cool watching cool stuff happen, then you will be viewed in a positive light. And it seemed like those Mixer deals, I don't remember them because it's been so long, but it seems like it was, let's pay a couple guys a shit ton of money to do exactly what they were already doing and not like help them achieve any higher goals or whatever. It seemed like Mixer was the highest goal, and they had already completed it once they signed that contract. But it seems like whenever I see a Kick logo on a clip anywhere, it's always like out in the real world, like doing something cool, doing something grand, or something that is a big passion of a big streamer. And so people are like, W Kick, I guess, in the chat for making it happen. And which is awesome. That is like doing it right, because a lot of people have not done it right.
It's a really great point, right? I never really thought of it that way, but it makes a ton of sense. The way you framed that just then, in the sense of, when you do avoid restricting creators substantially, the audience is really reciprocate. Reciprocates quite well to that.
Yeah.
They end up obviously being quite they can see when someone they enjoy watching is having a good or a bad time, and subsequently that leads to them having a good or bad time, and I think they definitely can appreciate when a platform is empowering a creator versus sort of potentially doing the opposite. So it's interesting train of thought, because I think ultimately the positivity that stems from the audience goes a long way into shaping the sort of opinion of the broader community as well, which helps a ton. So yeah, never really thought of it directly in that sense, but that makes a lot of a lot of sense, and probably why those deals have not just failed for the likes of Mixer, but for us too, because we saw them not work out either. We're like, oh, maybe we need to rethink this model a little bit. We weren't like Mixer, we're like, all right, we're quitting now, but we're like, all right, let's try something different. And I think we've hit the nail on the head now, where it's like, okay, give people all the flexibility they want, but just be competitive. That's it. Like it's just. Be competitive and offer flexibility is kind of that kind of balance almost, but yeah, it's been a journey figuring that all out. That's for sure. I think a lot of platforms have tried a lot of different things and different. I guess Facebook and Mix have been the two biggest sort of comparison points, and I guess it didn't quite work out for them. But yeah, definitely very interesting.
It's better to be the third than first. You know what I mean?
I guess we're very lucky. I guess the moment we have a launch kick, and the only thing people ever talked about was Mixer, right? Like it's funny we don't hear about it all that much anymore, because I think people are like starting to forget about it. When we first launched, like first 24 months, even it was like the only thing people would say is like, oh, Kick is the next Mixer. Mixer couldn't get into live streaming. You can't get into live streaming, and it was like, okay, just watch and see.
Yeah, I mean, you guys. It seems like you guys are proving them wrong.
We'll see. I think we're on our way there.
It's. I mean, everybody wants to talk about the last example, the last bad example that happened, and Mixer was able to make a $600 million mistake, so that other people can learn about it.
600 million was it?
I don't know, whatever it was. It was something insane. It was something outrageous.
Yeah.
I don't remember. Let's look it up.
I was gonna say maybe. I guess now with probably better get the exact number based on financial.
Okay, no, it wasn't 600. It was 50. It's a big difference.
Was that all in?
No, wait. Ninja has signed a 6-year, $932 million contract with Mixer.
Wait, what?
It's on Reddit. It's a fake. It's a fake account. Yeah, I would assume it's somewhere around 50 is what people were saying. So yeah, and that's just Ninja. So I would say it's probably somewhere around 100 is what I would think. So
yeah, interesting.
$100 million mistake that other people can benefit off of. So they're trying to do it in the future,
No, I think we're fortunate to be able to kind of zoom out a little bit and go, all right, we'll take that learning and not pay the price tag. But I don't know. Sometimes you also got to get burnt to learn as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. On all scales. Yeah.
On the kind of subject of Kick and how we can hopefully continue to prove people wrong. Esports is huge for us, man. Like we're trying our best to appeal as much as possible to the esports world and break through, because if you think about it, live streaming still is 60-70% sort of gaming, and majority of that stemming from esports. What do you think Kick can do better to kind of fit in better with the sort of broader esports world and slowly start to chip away at that demographic?
Yeah, I mean, I think that because it seems like Twitch has a stranglehold on a lot of esports, and then YouTube, on the YouTube side of things, a lot of people have YouTube on. I think YouTube recently, over the past year, has more people watching videos and live streams on television than on computer. So if you're watching something on the couch, you're watching YouTube. If you're locked in and watching an esport on your desk, it's usually Twitch. So there's got to be another element, in my opinion, that switches it, whether it's some sort of chat integration or some sort of staking, maybe working with a company to stake on games, and you can do that directly in the chat or something like that. Something that gives it a different element. Maybe it seems like you're more involved in the esport rather than using it as just a viewing platform, because then you're just playing a comparison game. Unless you pull a YouTube and just buy out the streaming rights.
Yeah, we're not doing that. No buying exclusive rights to anything. But that's interesting. Yeah, so basically trying to create really clear, defined sort of differences in product, right? And what you mentioned, like
Right.
what being able to, I guess, what just be more actively involved in making choices, picking certain sort of outcomes, or what was
Yeah.
what did you mean by that exactly?
Like, we work a lot with hopefully it's not a competitor, but we work a lot with prize picks, and like you go
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and
yeah.
you stake on players and on matches, and it's all done in real time. You got to go to a website in order to do it. So a lot of people go to the website in order to do that, and then they watch the game over on here. I feel like with just how Kick is as a business, I think you could like somehow integrate the two. I don't know if that's possible, but even if it's not staking, maybe games or like or some sort of like chat interaction that modifies the game or modifies the viewing experience
Yeah,
at
yeah.
all, I think would be I think that is not taken advantage of nearly enough because it's not needed right now. It's not needed on Twitch, it's not needed on YouTube because they all have their like thing. But I think people would enjoy it. I've always thought that like if there was a reason to get in and like mess with the game or make the viewing experience better or have fun watching it, because a lot of people watch, a lot of people when they're putting money on on uh on sports, they end up watching a college women's softball at 4 a.m. Trying to get that oh, she's got to get another hit, and there's that's coming to esports too. It's already on its way, but it's going to come in a big way. And there's a lot of different levels of esports as well. Like we've got that national basketball, that NBA status, and we also have that women's college softball. We got it on all scales. And so I think something like that could be possible. Now, I don't know how to do that, but that would be kind of the route that I would pursue.
That's super cool. Yeah, that's super cool. I think because yeah, esports and the whole betting market stuff is massive now. I know for a fact on the stake side, like yeah, the growth on esports on betting is just through the roof. Yeah, I know the esports
Yeah.
industry's kind of had its highs and lows, and it's now hopefully picking up a bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
like that side's massive. So yeah, maybe there's more to explore. But I think just in general, just trying to find a way to differentiate the products. Like again, like you said, I think you hit home there where you said, yeah, at the same time you're just competing for the same outcome. Really, if you just replicate, if you don't change anything, you're just going to have just
Right.
another
Yeah.
live stream, which is it's not really going to give many people much reason to move over, because that's one thing we have noticed is a lot of different esports feeds have started going live on Kick, and some of them are doing really really good, really well, but a
Yeah.
lot are just not getting viewership, right? Which is perfectly fine. I tell you what, it's probably because there just isn't that point of differentiation. There isn't any reason for
Right.
people to say, people have been watching esports for 10, 15, even 20 years, right? Sometimes on a specific platform. Moving around is going
Yeah.
to be bloody hard. But if you give people a reason and make a really clear point of differentiation, it could go a long way, and it could be quite simple as well. Because I must say, like if you think about it, in terms of esports broadcasts, they probably haven't changed much. I guess since you've been around at
No,
least, like it's it's
we
all it's
really
all the
haven't.
same, right?
I mean, the microphones have gotten better, but
Yeah.
other than that, like, other than that, like the run of show is pretty similar.
Mm.
Also, I just thought of it. Another thing another element to think of is like a watch party segment. Like people love watching other people watch the game. They love watching exclusive shows based around the game. So like if like a lot of people a good I don't know if you guys know if you guys watch American football, but Pat McAfee is doing is over the last like 3 years, what he's done in American football is incredible. Like he has like an entire show. It's like the new ESPN. It's like the new sports center for the young for the younger generation, and also the older generation is attaching to it. And I
Hey
think
Eddie,
something like
instead of wearing a suit, he wears like a cut off sleeve T-shirt, and he
yeah,
stands instead of sits. Like he takes more of a streamer approach, to be honest with you.
yeah.
It's like having a streamer on a shiny set, right? He
Mm.
honestly would be better off doing this from his garage at home. I think it would be more authentic. But I hear what you're saying, Hitch.
Yeah, yeah. And I think something like that, it kind of exists with watch parties right now for esports, but there's not like shows, that can do that,
Yeah.
especially in esports as a whole. And so I think if I know you guys have been putting together like events and like shows recently. And so I think maybe there's a path there that's a little untapped as well. Which I think you guys could be really good at.
Well, so there's nothing really what kind of exists in that sense of, I guess, obviously there's the feeds and the live games and the commentary, but there's not really much sort of live programming that goes on outside of the
Right.
events themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't know that. Yeah, I guess that's yeah, if you think about it, every sport for that matter kind of has that adjacent aspect to it where
Mhm.
people, who are massive fans of whatever it is sort of come together to get whatever information or however it's sort of framed in the
Yep.
broader environment. It sounds like, yeah, it's an opportunity. Maybe we need to look towards something there. It sounds interesting. It sounds interesting. And then, yeah, I guess before you know it, people start watching that segment maybe here on Kick, and then they're like, "All right, now I'm comfortable with the platform. I may as well just stick around
Exactly.
for the event itself." Right? It's kind of creating those inroads and building up that sort of those reps almost, and building that consumer confidence. Can go can
Yeah.
go a really long way, and it starts with differentiation, right? And if that can be done here, then yeah, interesting. I would have thought that more of that would exist, but of course, now that you mention it, of course, it doesn't. It really does it.
Yeah, well, like why the thing is like why would it? Because a lot of people when they try to stream, most people that are doing watch parties are ex-professional players. And so they can just turn the game on and they already have more game sense than 98% of the people watching the game. So even just watching your favorite retired pro watching a game, you're going to get better insight than just watching it yourself. But why would that pro then put in all that extra effort to make like a full production for like for talking about the game afterwards and doing stuff like that. We a lot of these shows are just guys in Discord channels getting together and duking it out or shooting the shit. And those do really well. But it would take a certain person with a certain vision to make like the sports center, because I've been waiting for the sports center of Call of Duty or the sports center of esports, and people have tried, and I think they have missed the mark a little bit and it hasn't happened, but I'm almost positive I'm gonna see it in my lifetime. I'm
What
gonna
was that
see
one? What was that one network? Ven? Was it Ven?
Ben. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ven tried to run at that, right? Like
They tried something. I don't
they
remember what
tried
it
some,
was.
yeah, right. They tried something. Eddie, I don't know if you
Yeah.
are familiar with Ven. What they were around for like a year, but they went hard at esports and like shiny floor content. Like that, I think they gave Sushi Dragon like a boatload of money to, and
Mhm.
Sushi Dragon is an amazing creator. But once you take him out of that warehouse, it's kind of like, it just didn't have the same charm.
This
But
is
I think that's a good
Ven
example of,
Esports.
yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
Venn Esports.
That's a really good example of like someone who went after it. I don't think that they reinvented it the right way though, in
And
my
I
opinion.
yeah, and I do think that was another issue of we're going to pay people boatloads of money to come over here and do this thing, and we have this vision for what, and we're going to put people in instead of people. And if Vin had gone to Scump, let's just use that example because he's like the biggest watch party in on YouTube or on in Call of Duty. If Vin would have gone to Scump and be like, hey, we can elevate your product that you already have, and you just put these elements on Ven, and then we'll bring people over that way. That would have done infinitely better because it would have been a positive outlook for all of the viewership there. Um, and also then they could have been like, hey, and then after we try this out for 6 months or whatever, then we can build a show for you in addition to what you already do. I think that's where like, people kind of miss the mark. I think the model of let's throw a shit ton of money at the wall and hope that it sticks is just people are coming to their senses and understanding that it's not you're not going to build any community doing that.
You know what? We had a lot of success exactly with what you just said with OTK. So,
Yeah.
I talked about this with you briefly offline, but like kind of having this kind of like Kick Studios model that does exactly what you said. We're going to elevate your content a little bit more by backing it, but you still get to do what you want to do. So when they came to us and they said, "Hey, we want to get World of Warcraft creators and have them play old school RuneScape," right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
it was
my buddy Alice was telling me about this. Yeah.
yeah, so listen, like we brokered this deal with OTK. Uh, I mean, in my opinion, it is a fair contract depicting what you exactly what you said. But
Yeah.
but instead of us like having like this old school RuneScape like set in Hollywood and shiny floor and like
Yeah.
getting Jagex involved and blah blah blah, what we did was is we were like, well, what would you do? They
Yeah.
did it in their own house. The Jagex executives came out to Austin for the event. They had beers, they
Yeah.
sat around, they had a LAN, they did cosplay, they set it up like just having fun on their own.
Right.
But the money that we threw at them was spent doing it authentically and organically and saying, hey, there's something here with WoW creators who are now playing old school RuneScape. So I think that that's a what you just described is something that we really try to capture with our OTK deal.
Yeah, which is so important. And I know in having the creator on your side, I mean, one of the biggest YouTubers in gaming right now, his name is Smitty. I'll put it in our Discord, his Twitch or his sorry his Twitter. But his last tweet is literally talking about brand deals and how he has a book of brands that he will no longer work with because they just refuse to follow his lead, and he knows his audience best, and he knows
So who did
what
you say was
um
Smitty?
Smitty, yeah, I put it in the Discord in the just chatting section. SMII7Y is he's like one of the biggest YouTube. Every single YouTube video he uploads gets like a million to 2 million views. He's literally crushing it. But I thought it was interesting because his last tweet, he's literally just talking about how he can't he is a non-family friendly guy, plays video games, shoot the shit with his friends, says a bunch of different crazy jokes, and people like it. And then he'll have to do a brand deal where he has to be all, buttoned up and stuff. And or they make him do they'll try to make him do other stuff, and he's already signed the contract, so he has to do it. But then now that company gets added. It's like a reverse effect where like a lot of creators will do anything for the company because there's a paycheck involved. But if you're already making enough money, if you're OTK and you can do this yourself, then there's probably a big list of people that they don't even want to work with anymore because it's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
Y-
Um,
not to get too in the weeds with the conversations around OTK, but a lot of the things that you're just saying that they just want to be themselves. They're to the
yeah,
point where they're just kind of like, we just want to we just want to be ourselves right now. I do think that there's a little bit of Stockholm syndrome that still exists where people are just kind of like, but Twitch is home, right? Twitch is my first girlfriend, right? Like they can do no wrong, right? So while they do enjoy streaming on Kick and we've made incredible content, like guys like S-Fan coming over and Nick has worn Kick merch like crazy. But I still think we have some hearts to win on that side as they continue to come over.
yeah, of course. And I think I mean, I think that's gonna be it's gonna be tough to win people over, especially in that sense, especially trying to do it right. It seems like it's gonna be a lot longer of a thing. But because yeah, because they they would want their communities to follow them because the most important thing for streamers isn't necessarily the platform, in my opinion, but it is because it's not just streamers, it's creators in general. Because I know a lot of YouTubers that all they do is they record YouTube videos, they put it into a video, they upload it, but they don't stream on Twitch because that's not where their community is. Their community is in the YouTube comment section. And so I think once you start building streamers that their community is solely on Kick, then it's a long process, but it's worth it in the end because it's just longevity for the
Yeah, I think
platform.
that's the thing, right? I think for really long time, and still to this point, right? It's going to take a while to change this. Is yeah, platforms naturally kind of own people's viewership, right? It's just how things work in terms of where people subscribe and where they're where people continuously browse and check back. And on the back of that, I think creators are incredibly reliant on these platforms to kind of act in the best faith for them. But it's kind of what we always mention here loosely on Kick Talk and as Kick as a platform is like, hey, as a brand, as like a as a creator, as almost like kind of a small business in a sense, you want to kind of have redundancy, you want to kind of keep all your eggs in as many baskets as possible in it. But the reality is it's bloody hard, right? It is it's a big change to make it, as you would know. And it's tough to basically start from scratch and create a reason for people to switch around and to diversify. So I think back to your point before about how you guys are operating your model of having the 3 point of views. I love that one. I think it's just such a smart way to kind of be able to lean into this idea of like how do you get people comfortable with moving their communities around. And I think when you do start to move your communities around as well, right? Like even if that means like building a bigger following on Instagram or a bigger following on X or a bigger following anywhere, I think you slowly chip away and get more and more control of what is your community, your viewership, your fans, your followers, which I think is just so incredibly important. Because say you've got like a massive YouTube, but you don't really have everyone else everywhere else, like you're not able to truly sort of again you always have those followers and those fans, but the platform does hold so much control at that point, which is scary because obviously YouTube is massive and will I'm sure will continue to dominate for decades to come. But still, you never know, right? Same with Twitch and same with like X or Instagram. Like you never know what's around the corner. Realistically, this whole content creation game, it's kind of brand new and people are building livelihoods around it. So taking that opportunity to branch out as much as possible, as scary as it sounds, is I think from a business perspective, from just from a long-term longevity perspective, such a great idea. But yeah, ultimately, I completely get where people come from when they want to stick to where their community's at, where they're most familiar, I guess, as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey Hitch, I don't know if you had any sort of specific questions for us. That was all we had from our side about Kick or live streaming or anything in general.
I had one question. I was doing a little bit of research and I don't know how real this is, but I'm very interested to pick your brain about it. This steak kick stuff all started, apparently I saw on the internet, it started in RuneScape. Is that true? Can you explain that? How does that happen? I've never played RuneScape.
Yeah.
So you got to explain it as a person who's never played RuneScape before.
Yeah. So did you play World of Warcraft ever?
No,
you never played that.
I've been FPS pretty much exclusively.
Only FPS. Okay. Yeah. So I played RuneScape back when I would have started playing when I was maybe how old would I have been? I would have been like 8 or 9 years old back in sort of 2003, 2004. And played it for a good part of 10 odd years. But yeah, the game's like based around like it different to an FPS, right? But you've got like an in-game currency called like it's called RuneScape Gold. And with that RuneScape Gold, you could buy like armor and weapons and really cool things which you kind of show off and all that kind of stuff. It was like this little economy within the game, and it was a lot of fun to kind of gather all these RuneScape Gold pieces. But anyway, so I really love that aspect of the game. I love kind of like this, there was all these little businesses and all these kind of things going on, which was so much fun.
The economy.
Yeah, the economy. So I was like fucking 12
so
years old or like 11 years old, like going around like trying to collect these gold pieces. But yeah, somewhere along the line, I think I took I was learning a bit about statistics in high school. I would have been maybe 12 or 13, and I think here in Australia we have to learn a bit about what's called gambler's fallacy. which is basically this idea that if you flip a coin like 11 or 12 times and it lands on heads, like the chance of it being heads or tails is still 50-50. Anyway, we did a class on that, and I was thinking, oh well, that sounds pretty interesting. And you know, the whole thing about basically the whole thing is don't gamble. So me being a 12-year-old kid, I was like, fuck, how do I start gambling? And I went on RuneScape and started gambling against other people there. But anyway, that kind of got into gambling on the game, and quickly realized if you have a little bit of a house edge or a little bit of a statistical advantage, you know, it can be quite consistent. And anyway, on the back of that, met a whole bunch of other people who enjoyed doing the same thing. One of which was, you know, my business partner, which we started, you know, Prime Dice up and then Stake and then later Kick. But yeah, we eventually got kind of, I guess, quote unquote, kicked off the game, or banned or whatever you want to call it. They kind of didn't like this idea of these 12-year-old kids. Or at this point we're actually 16. I was 16. So we grew up a little bit. They're running these like de facto online casinos within this game. So they kind of kicked us off. And at that point, Bitcoin and all these kind of cryptocurrency stuff was becoming a thing in 2013. So we're like, well, it's kind of the same thing, really. So we're like, oh, we'll switch off the RuneScape gold and move to Bitcoin. And so we opened Prime Dice, and then 4 years later opened Stake, and then, you know, now we're here on Kick. So it's been a wild ride, and it certainly started on RuneScape, which is an amazing game. I still play it every now and again. I love it.
Do you?
It's really cool.
Yeah, we do a series with TST where we play 100 hours of a game that we've never played before, and then we like document like what our process is, and like tell a story in a big YouTube video. And a lot of people asked us to play old school RuneScape. Like a lot of people asked us to play 100 hours of that's what I keep hearing. I'm scared, man. I'm scared. I can't afford a time dump right now, you know.
Yeah, it's a fun game.
But yeah, that's awesome, man. I can't believe it all started there. That's such an interesting experience. It's like playing like a Madden head coach, and then all of a sudden 10 years later you're the head coach of the Cowboys. Like that's just insane to me that's where it all started. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's actually a lot of people. It's funny. There's a hell of a lot of people who we kind of played RuneScape with, who have now done all kinds of interesting things in the you know, different industries across, you know, almost everything. It's funny. I think that game kind of it taught you a lot about just business and the world in general. It's interesting. I sometimes refer to it as the University of RuneScape. You know, there's a hell of a lot of really cool lessons learned there. It was great. So, you know, I think I don't want to mention names here, but yeah, there's at least sort of 30, 40 people that I know from those times that are just doing incredibly cool things on the back of their learnings that they had during that time. So it's actually funny. It's not uncommon that the people kind of started there and started doing a whole bunch of insanely interesting things.
I picked the wrong game then. Call of Duty's more of a community college.
Oh yeah, I don't know, man. You're doing what you love now. You know, it turned into a full-time job. That's amazing, right?
That is true. No, very blessed. Very blessed. Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate you guys. This has been great.
Man, really appreciate coming on and waking up a little bit earlier than usual.
Early, right?
Yeah. No, I guess. Yeah, no. To be fair, if it's a Sunday morning, I'm definitely not waking up at 9:30. That's for sure.
You know, but we'd love to talk to you more about like how we can get involved more with Optic, how we can get more involved. Like, I don't know if you have any passion ideas that you want to do on your own. You know, would love just to keep talking with you about like how can we do it different? How can we do it different on Kick? You know, how can we get into some sort of agreement with you so that we have the same experience that we're having with OTK, where it's creator led, it's relevant, it's timely. You're not going to have AT&T breathing down the back of your neck, so to speak. But would love to talk more about like, where you see original content going, in this day and age,
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I definitely got some stuff coming your way. So, yeah, I mean, I would love to get those talks. As far as the optic side, that's not really my like those aren't my decisions, but I could definitely point you in the right direction. We can all sit down and try to figure something out if it all works out. But I've got some some really good ideas, and I think kick slot because we've had conversations before where it seems like if you want to do something cool with with no strings attached really, or not nearly as many strings as there are elsewhere, then kick is a place to do it. So yeah, I got some really cool ideas on the way.
I think you mentioned before early in the conversation, Hitch, you said something about, we just need the right person with the right vision. It almost sounds like that might be you.
Oh, yeah. I got a lot. I have almost too many. Whenever I meet somebody, a lot of people tell me to just like stop, like let's just talk about soccer or football or something. We don't have to talk about work all the damn time. And my fiance says the same thing to me. So it's just kind of my brain is always moving in
So
this content.
what is
So.
your background, man? Like what were you doing before Optic? Like what did you go to school? Did you graduate in anything, or did you learn the hard way, or what?
No, I went to college to be a sports psychologist. And while I was in there, I mean, I was already deeply in love with YouTube. Like YouTube is where I started my love for all this. I started a YouTube channel, and then I started doing, and I love Call of Duty. So I started uploading a bunch of different Call of Duty stuff. And then, fast forward years later, 2 years later, Hector caught wind of my channel of what I was doing, and then I worked on something with Hector for a while, and then he liked that, so he brought me into Optic to do a documentary series based around the Call of Duty team and just the brand in general. And yeah, so I it was really just a passion of mine that I always wanted to make a job, and I found a way to do it. And so yeah, that was really. I mean, I don't have much. I'm kind of like second generation esports, and so like the guys before me, literally there was no future, and they made it a future, and then I saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and I chased it. And then nowadays it seems like anybody, like if you there's it's a billions of dollars of business opportunities in esports, so you can find a way to get a job now. But yeah, it was just a passion really of mine. And I would say Optic was the main passion. It wasn't like esports or content. I was always a big fan of Optic, and I saw elements of Optic that I wish that I could have consumed as a fan. And so I just brought that to Optic and made that happen.
Yeah, Optic fandom is a whole different level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There.
Eddie, Optic fandom, and I don't know. Like, I know we're talking NFL analogies. Like, you guys are like the Steelers of the esports space. Like, I know you want me to say Cowboys, but I'm not ever gonna say Cowboys.
No,
Uh,
I'm not a Cowboys fan. I
yeah, all
just.
right, all right, all right. But like the way you describe it, it's like you keep everything tight, you keep everything homegrown, you keep everything, within the four walls. That's definitely how the Steeler organization runs their stuff, and you're lucky to have gotten in, man. It sounds like it's a tight circle to a tough egg to crack, you know?
Oh, I mean, it's almost an impossible egg to crack. But we're very, very, the one thing that we pride ourselves in more than anything is just how tight knit we are with the fans, because Hector puts, I mean, he puts content creation on the same playing field as competing. And I don't know a single other brand that does that. And, a lot of people want to win. They want to play for the trophies. They want to play for the championships and stuff, but they never give the fans of those teams a time to learn the players. They don't learn the players' personalities. They don't get to see what they're like behind the scenes or what they're like in practice or on their streams. And you know, Optic has always made it a staple that you've got to do that first and foremost. Um, and it still shows through. I mean, Call of Duty is a lot of people would not consider Call of Duty a tier one esport. It's in that tier two, in that B tier, C tier esport, but still we're able to. I mean, last year we hosted the Call of Duty championships here in Dallas, and we packed out uh, uh, you know a small like hockey arena, and it was in a bowl, and everybody was wearing green, and it was just insane. So yeah, we're very close knit with the fans, and Call of Duty's still hanging on, so we're still there on the trying to run point there. But
Just
yeah,
quickly on that, last question. So just obviously, I understand esports quite well, and I get what you mean when you say Call of Duty is kind of that B or C tier or whatever. Why do you think that primarily is? Like, is because obviously it's by far and away the most popular game. Like you'd expect
yeah.
the esports community to kind of be up there. Is it just the mechanics of the game and the way that it plays out in terms of being like a spectator view, or is it how the leagues or the teams or the formation
Yeah.
of the different, like what kind of contributes to that, you think?
I think it's a mixture of a couple different things. Because I think we could easily be a tier one esport. But I think the franchising, when Call of Duty went to franchising, it kind of like boxed out the amateur scene. So there's only 12 pro teams, and there's a constant rotation of players within those 12 pro teams. But there's really Call of Duty used to thrive on the amateur side. So there would be you would go to MLG tournaments, and there were literally 1,000 teams there, so 4,000 players, and you could sign up. The three of us could find another person and sign up for an MLG event, and if by some miracle we beat everyone we played, we would play the top pro team in that tournament. Like we would play the best team in the world if we ran through the open bracket. And that just doesn't exist anymore. So there's not a
Yeah.
lot of hope. There's not a lot of hope for the amateur scene. And then also like the intricacies of the game itself. We change our title every year. So there's a new Call of Duty every November, every October.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and some Call of Duties are a lot more competitive than the others. Some cater to the competitive side, and then some Call of Duties are made, and it is very obvious that like that the whoever developed the game, like they realized at the last second, oh wait, we have to do something because in the game for competitive because of the CDL, and it's just felt like a very much an afterthought. So
So
it,
basically,
it
competitive call isn't really front of mind for Blizzard and stuff.
oh no, 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 no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
no, yeah.
That kind of sucks, I guess. But I guess what you guys still
Yeah.
make the best of what you've got, right? And it still
Yeah,
continues to
yeah.
thrive,
I mean,
right?
we're
Like you
still
said.
we're still in a great spot. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I mean, I'm a big fan of Halo, and Halo just announced that this is their last year of doing HCS. Um, in this current title. So they're going to wait till another Halo comes out until HCS comes back around. And I've seen that happen in Gears of War as well. So like I'm very thankful for what we have. But obviously, being so passionate about it, you can see the potential of where it could go. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're still hanging on.
Oh, maybe they'll change. Blizzard will come with a direction like, right, we're taking over esports, and you never know.
Yeah,
It just takes like
yeah, yeah,
a directive from that side. It sounds like it kind of sits with them almost, right, to an extent.
yeah,
To kind of open the floodgates to what could be, could be far bigger, but I guess more of a testament to the teams like yourselves that are continuing to kind of hold everything together regardless, and still, like you said, pack out arenas
yeah,
and keep everyone super engaged and all the fans super happy. So it's
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Cool. Well, Hitch, really appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks
Yeah,
for taking the time to speak a bit of esports about us, and we're gonna keep looking forward to trying our best to expand out and obviously appreciate you making that switch over to Kick recently. It goes a long way, and we hope to keep making a positive direction on that front, and learn from people like yourself on how we can continue to do better.
Yeah, man, absolutely. I appreciate you guys having me on, and yeah, whenever yeah, I'm an open book. So whenever you want, just hit me up. I'm always around.
Hell yeah, Hitch. We're gonna talk more, man. Promise.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Awesome. Have a great day.
All right,
Have a good
man.
weekend.
Yeah,
See you
absolutely.
later.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a
Hell
good one.
yeah. Later.
Peace, guys.
That was good. That was great. It's
Different vibe, man.
yeah. No, it's a change of gear from say Devin Nash last week, but it's no, it's super interesting. It's super interesting to hear kind of like the history of these orgs and kind of go. I love the story where he's talking about having to almost take a group of kind of almost kids, right, and explain the ins and outs of where money goes and bringing everyone back together. And I guess that's just like that's just another day in the
This
office
is a
sometimes
cash.
for
This is a
esports.
cash register, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
this is your uniform you wear, and this is the ingredients, and all of this costs money. So yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
No, it's great. I think it's also it's also I still find it fascinating that the Call of Duty's never managed to really become such a big esport, but the way Hitch kind of explained that at the end made a lot of sense. I guess it's just never really been front of mind or a big market for them. Hey,
Yeah, which is weird because people are so rabid about it. I mean, think about some of the early adopters of Kick. The entire Facebook group, right? He mentioned Oakley Boy and that whole 12 a.m. clan. Slump, Oakley Boy, 12 a.m. Cupid. They all play like Fortnite and Call of Duty. But Call
yeah,
of Duty, we have some amazing Call of Duty players like Ryda, Sergeant Jackson. They all
yeah.
play Call of Duty at
The
a
the
very
Call
high
of
level.
Duty
Even
section's been super healthy for a very long time, right? I think it was like one of the first sections to really gain a proper traction.
yeah, and I always assumed that it was an esports contender, but I didn't realize that wasn't like I personally learned a lot from Hitch, and I know it's wild that it makes sense now in a lot of the conversations that we had early on with like a lot of different orgs where they were just going after that license deal so early on, and it makes sense. Like if you got guys like YouTube who are like paying for the entire portfolio and you cannot broadcast it anywhere else, like, it's wild.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it sounded like there was that 1 year or so where that's kind of exclusive rights fell through and things started to pick up a little bit from what Hitch was kind of explaining then. So yeah, it's that level of you know co-streaming right now is just so massive in all types of not just esports but like sport now too. And I guess when you kind of restrict that, it's pretty hard to grow as a community, as a broader group.
But he does have a good idea there. It's like, listen, if you're going to bring esports over, you're to spend that kind of money, you might as well differentiate it,
Mm.
and finding that key way of, or else you're just like YouTube or Twitch or anyone else broadcasting it. And that's a really good point. It's like, give viewers a reason why to make them comfortable on Kick, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
going to go over to Kick to watch it because of X, Y, and Z. And I know a lot of people point straight to prop betting, and I think that's something that he kind of touched around. Is like, we've had a lot of success in prop betting, but I think with all the technology that is available to live streaming, I do think that there's something there that might be untapped. What he
Mm.
said around like, everyone's watching it on their TVs now is very interesting. They're just using the app and just throwing it up on their TVs. I think digging deeper on like habits and things of that nature would be worth more discussion with him. Maybe we could find that way to differentiate it on Kick.
Yeah. No, it's super interesting. I think it's sometimes it's just a small thing, small slight area of differentiation that can go a long way, and that's enough to move over 5% of people or 10% of people
Right.
or 15. That's huge if that can happen, and then before you know it, it starts to all kind of come into motion. So I don't know, food for thought. I think Kick's in a really great spot right now where we're kind of planning out some of those Q4 priorities and into Q1, Q2 of next year as well. And it's less so on the things people are demanding and expecting. And I know conscious we still got console and Kicks to get out, but after that it's on to the more exciting aspects that maybe haven't been done before, which I'm certainly looking forward to.
Yeah, man. So how are you doing on your end?
I was gonna say maybe there's a few questions in chat. Eddie, when will Kick have Portuguese team active and active Twitter handle for Brazilian streamers? I think we have a small team of well, so maybe, but no, we don't actually. No, we don't have Portuguese speaking. I know Portuguese speaking has really picked up on Kick, obviously in Brazil, primarily. But yeah, we need to get active on socials there. That's for sure. We need to get that sorted out. I believe the team would be already on top of it. I know the partners team is really doing a lot of outreach to Brazilian streamers, and we've seen just like this massive influx in the last sort of like 2 to 3 months, especially, and it's just growing like insane. I think the same as what we've seen in Spanish speaking, sort of mainly Latin America and Middle East and Turkey is all happening in Brazil right now. So it's something we certainly need to get ahead of and invest in. So hear you loud and clear on that. And thanks for the host, by the way, Cora Antos. I hope you had a great stream.
Yeah, 216.
Yeah,
it's a big host, man. It's great. It's great.
What's the biggest challenge moving into this space since being in the online casino space? I think we probably spoke a little bit about that with Devin Nash last week, right? I think live streaming. You know, I always say this, and people who've watched a few of these Kick Talk have probably heard me say these exact words, but kind of came in a little bit naive, and you know, certainly, you know, I think we sort of look at this as a humbling experience, to put it kindly. I think, you know, coming into live streaming, you don't realize how complex these communities are, like how many layers there are to keeping everybody happy, and a nice balance in terms of moderation, and how to, you know, keep everything obviously economical and everything else, right? It is a very, 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 you know, I think from the outside in, you look at live streaming like, okay, sweet, just like let people do what they want, don't piss people off, and you can kind of win this industry. But then you realize very quickly that a lot of the frameworks and a lot of the rules and a lot of the process and a lot of the reasons things are done a certain way is on the back of years and years of learning. So we kind of had to like speed run that, you know. We had to kind of figure out like almost 20 years worth of learnings in the case of like of Kick, like a year or two, and sort of apply that rapidly to how we run the platform, because yeah, there's a lot that goes on. There's a lot that doesn't meet the eye. So you know, building out the team to be able to support that has been huge. It's honestly, I think that there's just no industry in the world like live streaming, and I will double down that every time. It's just so unique that, you know, a lot of other businesses, they're kind of similarities in a lot of senses in how they operate, and you've got like specific way of looking at stuff. But in live streaming, you kind of got to take away everything you know about like traditional business and kind of start from scratch almost. I like to think it's interesting, which makes it so exciting though. That's why live streaming is just so exciting. And obviously the simple fact that, you know, we get to sit here on a Saturday night and talk to you guys live as well is also just incredible.
When will the Kick app have access to stream directly from phone app? That is Taggy. That's from Taggy.
Yeah, we're working on that right now, actually. There's been some really good progress done on that. We've got some incredible you know, teams working through that at the moment. It's going to be really great for Kick, I think, because Kick does have that IRL streaming category, you know, quite well covered. A lot of people come to Kick for the IRL streaming content, which is incredible. So, you know, being able to kind of like, you know, encourage people to, you know, just go live directly from their phone without needing to set up a really complex sort of streaming setup will be amazing. I think will hopefully lead to one of our most important goals of creating more homegrown talent, you know, having more people start streaming for the very first time here on Kick, and then building their profile, building their careers here, and becoming, you know, hopefully some of these next incredibly successful streamers on the back of, you know, maybe just one day deciding, hey, look, I'm going to go live from the app directly. So I think that's going to be huge. So we are working on that. It's a really important update. And, you know, hope to see a whole bunch of people who otherwise would never stream go live just because it's only 1 or 2 clicks, or, you know, taps rather.
This one's from Janaban. Can we please get in-platform post-stream analytics?
Yeah, that's a good shout. That's not far off, hopefully. Yeah, obviously the fact that the kind of streams charts, we love streams charts. They're incredible people, but that's kind of our de facto stream recap place to go is not great. I think there should just be a nice little recap, average viewers, active chatters, like total views, like all those kind of really key metrics, just to kind of recap the stream. Would go a long way. I know I'd love that just even for my streams to be able to quickly get a nice preview of how the stream went and how it compared to the stream before or the month before maybe. So yeah, we're working on that. I know that's been something we've had on like our to-do list now for a while, but it keeps getting pushed back ever so slightly. In terms of sort of quarterly planning and whatnot, because there's a whole bunch of other really important things we're working on. But it's coming.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, will Kick ever had ads? Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, this is what we spoke about with Devin all last weekend. Yeah, they're coming. They're coming soon. But, for now, enjoy that ad-free experience. It's awesome.
Rick Vieira, can you implement disconnect protection like Twitch has?
So we have disconnect protection. Yeah, we have that. You can disconnect for up to 2 minutes without your live stream ending.
It's already in there. Hey, Rick Vieira, if you're having an issue with it, man, hit up support, because we haven't gotten any reports on that. So if you're having an issue, let us know. It might be something in your settings, but who knows? Eddie, where do you get your t-shirts, man?
Secret.
Kick should work with JagX on building OSRS esports.
That'd be cool. Oh, really cool. I think they're trying to do some stuff in that front. I think they've done a few sort of tournaments and whatnot. But yeah, we're open for business. We're open for business. Collaboration and whatnot is kind of our biggest opportunity as a platform. I do believe that YouTube and Twitch and whoever that not massively collaborating with publishers nowadays, and I think that's where we can come in. We're here to help. We're here to be a part of, the broader creator economy, the broader industry. So, we'd love to do that.
So here's a very direct question from Ambient Luck. How are y'all dealing with botting? Sometimes I wish people would just package their question like that. I think, you know what I'm saying? It's just direct. What are we doing?
Yeah, botting's a complicated one, right? And I think this is what we spoke with Devin a lot about last weekend as well. You kind of play whack-a-mole with botting. We've got some measures that we continuously change, right? Which try to limit it to an extent that doesn't let things get completely out of hand. Yeah, I think most importantly, as a platform, our job is to recognize people who do bot and not reward that behavior, right? I've kind of always lent on this idea that, hey, look, if you're going to go ahead and bot and kind of like try to game the system, then the platform will stop supporting you, right? Like, whether that means like, okay, suddenly you may not appear on the front page as much, or you may not, receive that extra special treatment. Or I think the platform is here to be able to kind of reward the good behavior. I think on the back of that, we can change the technical side a little bit to be able to like add more friction. I think botting's all about adding more friction, right? If there's a little bit more friction, it becomes a little bit more complicated, and hopefully less people do it. But realistically, if anyone tells you that they've got a foolproof solution to botting, I don't think they're telling the truth. I don't think that's capable right now. But are we constantly making the bots' lives a little bit harder? Yep. Are we constantly making sure that people who do bot are not rewarded for it? Yes, of course. I think that's the way to go. I think, as viewers, I think it's up to you guys to kind of go ahead and go, hold on, what's bullshit and what's not bullshit. I think that's a really big aspect too. I think that's something that people are learning about. And I think Kick's helping to shine a light on that. We openly talk about viewbotting. We openly talk about, what goes on. I think normalizing the fact that, hey, look, this is a problem. Understand that maybe don't sort of believe everything you see. I think there's healthiness in simply education side, right? I think for a very long time people refused to believe it was even a concept, right? So I think that's what we're doing to help change that. But again, from a technical perspective, we'll always look for silver bullets or opportunities to kind of make it a little bit more difficult. But there is a reason why the internet as a whole is still fighting how to prevent it, and no one has yet found a ironclad solution. But again, is that an excuse not to look for one? Of course not. We'll keep looking. We'll keep looking because it'll be great. I think the biggest thing as well, Andrew, we say this all the time. The one thing, Kick doesn't gain anything from viewbotting. We gain nothing. We got no advertising at the moment. We got nothing on that front. So viewbotting just kind of fucks with the whole ecosystem. It just creates this unfair landscape, which really demotivates incredible creators. Like the people who really put in hard work, they see people going, cheating more or less, and it demotivates them, right? It sucks. It hurts us as much as it hurts, the more innocent creators. So, I think, we've got every incentive to solve the problem where possible, and we will. We'll do everything we can.
Yeah, it's just it's just not it's not sustainable. It's just not it's just not sustainable, man. All right, what else we got? Will ads only be for KCIP partners only? I don't even know if we've
No,
gotten
I
that far with it.
think would open up to anyone, right? I would be my guess. We haven't yet got that far, but I think ads would be for everyone. Yeah. It depend. It depend. I think once you reach affiliate, then you'd be able to probably take a share in ad rev. Would be my guess, but yeah, we would need to scope that out a little bit further. We're just sort of putting together the platform at the moment, and the specifics on how that kind of interacts will need to be decided. But yeah, I think as we discussed again with Devin, big decisions be made on that front. Big opportunities there to do it really well or to do it really bad. I think we just need to make sure we dot our I's, cross our T's in terms of how we integrate that.
Yeah, and then really quick, just coupling all this is console coming anytime soon, and are kicks coming anytime soon?
I think they're both coming real soon. Yeah, they're not far off, right? I think it's been a little bit since we've had a major update. I think we've had some great traction this year. I think if we look at the beginning of this year and then look at like where we're at today, it's like day and night. The viewer experience that we're building upon, and I think Kicks and console app is kind of almost going to be some of those final frontiers to really making sure that you go, hey, look, I'm going to watch someone on Kick or I'm going to watch someone elsewhere, and going, you know what, there really is very little difference. So we're looking forward to having that. It's going to be huge, especially Kicks. I'm really looking forward to Kicks and helping like boost people's revenue. Like a biggest thing for us is to make sure that the people who are choosing to stream on Kick are getting best bang for their buck, and viewers have obviously the most opportunity to be able to, interact with the creators through whether that's gifting subs or gifting kicks or whatever that is. It is such an important key piece of the puzzle. And I'll be honest, we probably should have had this done a little bit earlier, but we're also making sure we do it really nicely, really well to be able to support what is now, average viewership on Kick. I think the average viewership now is around about 1 million people, right? It's just blowing up. So, when we talk about adding these kind of features, it's no longer about like adding it for a handful of people. It's like, whoa, we need to be able to support like scale, which is sometimes a different problem to solve, which is, to be fair, a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then just last question for you, because I know that it is getting late over there, unless you want to take more questions. It's around the Discord server. I think the clipping server, especially after the Miyochi episode, which was before Devin Nash, got a lot of attention because people were like, wait a minute, there's this clipping server out there. How do I get involved with it? I had a lot of clippers reach out to me, and I had a lot of creators reach out to me to find out, hey, what's the process in getting in here? Like what's the process in getting into this thing? I know that we're just scratching the surface of something like this because no other platform offers this, and we haven't really I guess crazy packaged it or structured it as a service yet because we're still developing it. But if someone wants to get involved, is it a tight knit group, or is this still pretty much open, or is there a process yet?
Yeah, so I guess it depends from which perspective you look at it, like from a streamer perspective or from like wanting to become a clipper.
I think from what I'm seeing is wanting to becoming a clipper,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I get a lot of creators that ask me, "Hey, how do I get in this server?" But in chat, I'm seeing a lot of people who are like, "How can we just start helping clip and start, I guess, earning money to clip?" You know?
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, we're probably right now. It's in very early stages, right? I think it's probably coming up to about 6 or 7 weeks, no, maybe 2 months now. Since we kind of launched this initiative. I think it's kind of finding its feet a little bit at the moment. And that I think ultimately we want to make it fully open and transparent. I think that's where things go the furthest. I want to say around clipping, it is kind of a unique space because it's kind of reputation based to an extent, because obviously there's a lot of trust that goes involved in the clipping side of things. Obviously, as we're talking about bots, right? The one place there's more bots than ever is TikTok and X and Instagram and all those
Instagram,
places.
yeah.
Like, if you think botting's bad on on live streaming, like these places are, it's another level, right? So, making sure that you're working with the right people is really important. So there's a little bit of reputation based to it if you are becoming a clipper. Like, there is this aspect of, hold on, you can't just join, because if anyone could join, suddenly people start putting clips up, but they're all like fabricated views. But anyway, that there is an aspect to it. But I think that there is certainly a better way to be able to onboard people and add more transparency to it. It's such a cool service that Kick offers, right? Like, I think no one really knows about it, but yeah, you obviously see a lot of Kick clips, and Kick funds that, right? It's basically Kick's way of funding discoverability. We understand that discoverability in live streaming kind of is difficult. You aren't going to become a massive streamer just by going live on any singular platform. You need to invest in other ones, and Kick's kind of going, hold on, we'll do that for you, which is super cool. But yeah, I think there's room to emphasize a bit further and go a bit further. That's for sure. I think leave it with us. Leave it with us. I think it's probably something which at the moment is potentially a little bit closed off and not spoken about enough, because it's such a cool initiative. It's such a cool concept.
Cool, man. Hey, Liz, I know it's late over there. I don't know if there's another question that caught your eye, but if you want to wrap it up, I know it's like 2 or 3 in the morning over there, man.
Eddie, will you follow Devin's feedback and become more public facing? It's a shame you hardly post on Twitter. Yeah, I probably should post more shit, right? But yeah, no, Devin made some really great points. Devin definitely spoke a lot of truth. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I kind of prefer being involved in the day to day than doing the media. I love my Saturday night streams and talking to you guys, and that's kind of this is kind of my relaxation time to kind of chill out with you guys, whether it's on Stake on the stream before or Kick Talk here. But I think the whole media stuff has never really been my what's it called, forte. But maybe I need to adapt to
Couple
to that.
podcasts, couple visits.
Yeah, maybe. Scary stuff. I just like building shit, and being involved. But anyway, that's all part of the learning curve. All part of the learning curve. But yeah, it's pretty late here in Australia. It's nearly 2:30 a.m. Andrew, I reckon, gonna call it a wrap. We need to find someone to host though.
Let's see who's out there.
Who's around? Who's around?
Who'd you guys host into last time? Was it Creation X?
Looks like we hosted
Nutty
Creation
live.
X. No, wait, we didn't host Creation X.
Nutty's alive. Shuvy's alive. I guess that scavenger hunt's still going on, huh?
Wait, did we host Nutty? No, we hosted Nutty last time. Hey, we did.
Yeah, Tiger Gaming, Lone Wolf Club, Loon. It looks like this person Loon is out on a LOOONN is out on a canoe out on a lake, which is good to see. Canute's up. Canute is doing some IRL boxing.
I'll tell you what, Loon looks like they're having a great time. Let's drop by Loon's channel. This looks. This reminds me of the first time I think we hosted Quackstick. She was on a canoe.
Yeah. Good shout.
Yeah. Guys, we're gonna host here Loon. They're out canoeing. But yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it, guys. We're in the chat the whole way through that discussion there with as we went out through the chat there with Hitch, which was great. So thank you everyone for all the feedback, all the kind words, all the constructive feedback too. It's super helpful. But yeah, as always, guys, appreciate you guys. It means a lot that we can sit here and talk about something that we love so much and have people that actually want to listen, which is great. But let's show Loon some love, and we'll be back. We're back next weekend. Next weekend, same time as usual. I'm sure, Andrew, you've got some pretty good ideas on who's up next.
Yeah. I mean, we're still working on Rampage Jackson. This guy keeps doing his IRL streams, keep elevating like to these game show type of things, and he just stays up late and streams. So trying to find a good weekend for him to make this hour, but I think he would be a lot of fun. Also, look, would love to get another dev on the show. I'm working on that. I'm not going to say which game, but we're definitely working on a well-known dev to come over and chat it up with us.
Cool. What about Wiz?
Wiz Kick? Listen, if you're gonna use Wiz's name, we got to do Wiz Kick. Wiz Kick. I don't know, man. We could have Wiz Kick on. I think.
Wait, what's the difference between Wiz Kick and Wiz?
I don't know. I think it depends on which day of the week he might be pissed off at Kick. Like,
Really?
Yeah. I think when he's pissed off, it's Wiz, and when he gets front paged, he's Wiz Kick.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon. Let's have a chat to Wiz.
All right. We'll reach out to him. It'll be good fun, man.
All right, guys. Cool. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you guys next week. Take care. Have an awesome weekend. See you guys. Hosting Loon.
Right.
Show some love to Loon. Guys. Show some love to Loon. She's out there enjoying herself, having a great time. Show some love. See you guys. Bye.
Later.